Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is 100, episode 172. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zaberwolf. We're going to be talking about the early reviews for the Fantastic Four. No spoilers in this stream, as neither of us have seen the movie yet, so you're safe to hang around, and there'll be some other nerdy news in between. Without further ado, here we go. Yo, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just been busy with work and trying to stream all at the same time,
At the same time.
Same time.
My man. Getting paid to stream. Let's go. It's
No. I wish. Like, that'd be so cool, but probably not a good idea.
No. I'd be terrified to boot up my computer in case, like, because my manager follows me on Twitch and all. Like, so imagine he sees a go live notification while I was working or something.
Oh, like I don't know. People know that like I do stream, but I don't think any of them follow like whatsoever. So like I think I'm still in the green on that one.
Yeah, my manager, like me and my manager, like I would say we're friends, like so I had no problem kind of because he games as well, so he was kind of like, "Oh, you stream? What's your name?" and all. I'll check you out sometime. So like he's come in and dropped subs before and stuff like so. He's cool.
Oh, nice.
But
Yeah.
I wouldn't disrespect him by trying to boot up my stream during work, like because he'd probably fucking know,
Right, and I'd rather not do the same. Like they trust me enough. They trust me enough, dude, to where it's like, my lead was like, "Hey, so are you okay in the morning?" And I'm like, I told him, I said, "I'm really not a morning person at all." He's like, "Yeah, because you're on the West Coast and you come in at 6 a.m. when technically like we're an East Coast headquarters and we technically start at 9. So like you must be really tired." And I said, "Yeah, because I do stay up late as well. So that's partially my fault." He's like, "Well, not saying anything, but if you happen to just join the scrum meeting, give your information, like your updates and whatnot, and then you just happen to be like, I'm going to go back to sleep for a couple hours, I'm not saying go ahead and do it. I'm just saying if you do, I trust you, just as long as you keep doing your work and you get your work done." And I'm like, sweet. So I've actually been kind of doing that. Like I would just go to scrum and then go to sleep.
What time is the scrum your time?
6 a.m.
Oh yeah, that's tough, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person at all. Like I have to set like 3 alarms to get up out of bed in the morning, and I'm streaming. If it's a good night, I'm streaming till 2 a.m. Then I'm in bed, probably falling asleep by half 2, and then I'm up at like 8 at the latest. You know what I mean? So like it's 6 hours. Like how many hours of sleep are you getting a night?
6 at the least, I would say.
That's okay then. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I get like during the week, like when I'm kind of in stream mode, because like I'll be on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, and then here Wednesday, back on Twitch Thursday, Friday, and then I take the weekends off. And Monday night I don't really find it to be too hard because I've obviously had the weekend off and I'm kind of well rested and stuff. Tuesday, last night I finished up at about 1:45, something like that. It was bit tougher getting up this morning, and tonight will probably be finished by maybe midnight my time. So that's an early night for me, is midnight. Like that's how kind of deep into the early hours of the morning I am. Which is why my mascot for my Twitch channel is an L. Like it's the kind of running joke, like where I'm a night owl. So yeah, I don't know. My missus is always giving out that I'm not sleeping enough and stuff, but to be honest, I feel if I sleep more than kind of 7-8 hours now,
you feel like shit, right?
Yeah, it has the reverse effect on me, and I find as well because I'm getting older too. Like I find like if I'm like in bed for like 10 hours, I wake up and I'm sore and all, like, and I'm like my back is killing me and everything. Whereas if I'm like asleep for like 6 hours, I wake up and I feel good. Like so, yeah, I think that's just where I am. But I know
it feels like
it's not
that's the norm now, right?
yeah, I know it's not really healthy. They say like 7 hours minimum and stuff, but sure, what's an hour? It's not gonna kill me. Well, maybe it will, but I don't know.
Maybe it
will. Dan in the chat, what's up, dude? He says he's up at 5:30 every morning during the week. I couldn't do it, man. Sorry, if I had to do that, because there was a stint where I had to be like up at 6:30 to be into the city center, and doing that, I like that completely fucked up my entire like personal life. because I like to
Yeah.
train late at night. I'm finishing up at the gym at 10 p.m., getting home, playing some games, going to bed. Like I had to like completely change everything, and it sucked. So if I was up at 5:30 every morning, I wouldn't be able to stream. There just wouldn't be enough hours in the day for me, with the family and everything like that. Like my daughter's down to bed at like 8 p.m. Do you know what I mean? Like, what am I to go live like right away, and then I miss my gym sessions and stuff? Like, it's just there wouldn't be enough hours in the day, man.
Yeah, I tend to risk it for the biscuit, man. Like I don't know. Like I tend to be super wide awake by the afternoon,
Yeah,
and then by the evening, like yeah, I'm tired, but like I'm just there's so much running in my head that I keep myself awake. So
yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe I like ADHD or something like that. I'm not diagnosed yet, but I might get diagnosed eventually.
I like that. Yet I'm not diagnosed yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Like who knows? But like Gerardo was saying, too much sleep feels bad. Also, don't they say you need less sleep as you get older too? And
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I feel like if you sleep 8 hours a night, like it's kind of terrifying to think about it. But if you sleep 8 hours a night, you're asleep for like a third of your life, and that's kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah, and I think that's what really sucks for the most part. I think that's what really deters people from wanting to sleep most of the time. Because it's
Yeah,
like, well, fuck, I just want can I just please have all of the time that I want? And it's
yeah,
like, no, like your body needs to rest, it needs to regenerate, it needs to get rid of anything that it needs to flush out all of your system,
yeah.
you know.
No, I agree. I agree. And like I'm all for like, like the way I'm very scheduled with my time. I have obviously work and stuff, then family time, then, exercise and stuff like that, and then like gaming and stuff like that. Like, so like for me, it's my days are well divided out, but all of it is important to me. So,
Yeah.
it's I would feel terrible if I was to sacrifice one for the other.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the hard part for you is because you have kids and you have, people to really maintain things with. Whereas like I'm on the other end where it's like I have a girlfriend, I have cats, but they're pretty self-sufficient. So like I don't really have to worry about them as much.
Oh, bro, like I remember the time, like I remember before, settling down, and you'd have so much time to yourself. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like you'd finish work at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock, whatever it was, and like it would feel like a brand new day is starting. Like, you'd have so much time to do whatever you want. And like I remember even I think my daughter was maybe like a year old, and I had like a day or two, like I think it was even only one day. I had one night to myself. The
Mhm.
house was to myself. And honestly, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I was like, like an hour actually felt like 6 hours. It was bizarre. Like, cause like, if there's parents listening to this, they probably know what it's like, but the days just get chewed up. Like it's crazy. Like I get home at like 6 o'clock, and before I'm blinking and it's 8 o'clock. I'm like, where did those 2 hours go? You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Whereas when I'm sitting there with nothing to do and I'm by myself, it felt like time was standing still. It was crazy. Dan says I was up past midnight a few weeks ago playing Marvel Rivals. Do you play that game, by the way? I know
Yeah,
we played it.
I
We
play,
played it a
yeah.
little bit, but do you still play it? I mean,
I haven't gotten around to it. I really want to try to catch up on some of the things that I've been working on in terms of gaming. Like I've been
yeah,
playing a lot of Grounded. I'm playing
I've
Grounded right
seen that.
now, actually.
I've seen that. Yeah, um, yeah. The Grounded 2 is coming out like next month, right? So
I
you
believe
gotta get
so, yeah.
you gotta get ready. Yeah, no, I haven't played Marvel Rivals in a while. Like I thought it was great at the start, but I kind of got bored of it a little quickly. I'm not really into the kind of 5v5, 6v5 kind of Overwatch style games. Like they're fun when you've got a full crew of people, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I just the fun doesn't last forever for me. I get bored of them quickly, then I have to move on to other things. So I've seen some new characters, and they're doing like all these summer skins and stuff like that. Like it seems like it's kind of revitalized the fan base a little bit, because it felt like it was going a little stale for a bit, but it seems to be kind of bouncing back a bit. So I don't know.
I
Maybe I'll
mean,
install it again, but I don't even have it installed on my computer right now. That'll show you. Like I don't even. It's not even in my mind to maybe play it. It's gone. It's gone to be.
when you demonstrate that like these characters exist outside of the movies, like it really revitalizes things properly, because then you're like, oh shit, I totally forgot. They actually kind of look cool in the comics, and now we're getting to see like them, live and doing their thing, and like basically you get to use all their powers, their abilities and whatnot, and then there's all the the controversies, and it's like, well, why are they this? Why are they that? Which I still love the conversations like that, because it's like very, very much, brings that liveliness that we need for these characters. And like, that's kind of what I miss for the Injustice games, like Injustice 1 and 2. When those came out, those were great. They really brought out like the ideas behind like Superman, Batman, and Joker and whatnot, like all the different characters, and kind of revived them for the time being. And then like it felt so good. And I can't remember, was Mark Hamill doing Joker at that time?
I don't think he did. Maybe he did actually. I can't remember if he did Joker for the Injustice game, but he was obviously in the Arkham series and
Right.
obviously the animated series as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know is the answer to that one. He maybe did some voice lines for the game, but
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, I think Rivals is a big success just for the fact that they've announced like that there's been like some serious like uptake in comics since the release of it. So a lot of
Yeah.
people are playing the game and going into a comic book shop going, give me comics on Luna Star, give me comics on Jeff the Shark and stuff like that. Like, so like that's incredible. You know what I mean? Like, and like for comic books that have been around for 80 years, like it's crazy to think that, they're still bringing in new fans just from a video game now, so
Right.
um
And
it's definitely achieved what it was meant to.
which is fantastic. I love stuff for that. Because we, you got to have something to give people to chew on. And if the movies aren't cutting it, then hopefully the video games are.
Yeah. Well, this is a perfect transition that you've just mentioned that. This is a perfect transition to the main topic of tonight, which is Fantastic Four. Obviously the premieres were yesterday, I believe. And, I've seen some of the early reviews. There's no spoilers in this stream, so you don't need to worry about it. But basically, from what I've seen, the initial reviews are quite strong, kind of similar to how the initial reviews for Superman were. And that's kind of holding up. Superman's been out for 2 weeks now and it's crossed 400 in the box office, 400 million. And
Mhm.
like it's still kind of holding strong with the Rotten Tomato score and the IMDb score is like 7 point something, 7.6 or something like that, which I think is a very fair score for the film, personally. Um, this movie now, it's sitting on an 87% with the critical reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, that's a good score. That's the
It's
best score of
fantastic.
any. It is indeed. There's going to be plenty of that tonight. Because what I find funny is like, people say that in a cheesy way, like making a joke, but I think I actually use the word fantastic quite a bit. So I'm sometimes I'll say it, but I'm not trying to make a joke, Um,
What was that word you just said?
yeah.
As
Say that again.
I said, this was fantastic.
Yeah. I talked to a few people who were at the Irish premiere last night, and again, they said it was fantastic. Again, without like, I didn't ask for any spoilers or anything like that, but without any spoilers, they've said like the dynamic between them is all great, and Galactus is fucking terrifying. The CGI is incredible. Like the trailers did it no justice. Like it's so much better in on the actual big screen, And the Irish premiere it wasn't even an IMAX, I believe. The screen was like it was like a laser 4K screen or something like that. Like we call it iSense over here in the cinema chain where it was, but I don't know I think you guys just call it like, I don't know, like is there like a laser projectors? I know that all the different kind of screenings have different names. I
Mhm.
find, so I'm not exactly sure what the equivalent is where you are, but I believe I've talked to Sharky about this before, and it's like I think she refers to it as like it's like a Dolby laser or something like that in Canada, like, and basically it's just like, yeah, it's enhanced projectors with like Dolby Atmos sound. So
Mhm.
I'm sure it looked fantastic. Oh, there I did it again. And and that was accidental, I swear. But I think the viewing that I'm going to on Saturday is like full IMAX, recliner couches everywhere. It's going to be great. I can't wait. Some
Oh, it's gonna be
fantastic.
wonderful.
I just love again. I was about to say some fantastic food, and I can't wait. Because I'm excited because I feel like 2025 has kind of just revitalized my love for the cinema in a way. Like I've seen a lot of good movies on the big screen this year, and it feels good. Like it's just hit after hit after hit. It started with the
Mhm.
F1 movie for me, and 28 years later wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but it was good fun. I went with a friend, and the two of us had a good time. So that kind of is just the magic of cinema to me. Like, the movie doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 every time. If it's fun, and you enjoy just kind of going with people and socializing, and just the experience of going itself is almost half the fun. And
Right.
obviously Superman 2 weeks ago as well was, the bar was so low. We've talked about it already. The bar was so low, but it was such a relief and a breath of fresh air to have something good come out of DC for what feels like a long time. So yeah, like the reviews are looking good. Wait, are you going to see it soon? You're going to see it tomorrow, are you?
Tomorrow at 5:30 my time.
Nice. Yeah,
And
that's
I
one
took
thing.
Friday off.
just to recover. You'll be shaking too much. No, that's great. That's great. Do you think? Are you going to see it in IMAX?
No, I prefer to see it in Dolby.
Okay.
Dolby is just like the IMAX theater right now. Like their seating, they don't have like reclining seats. I don't think they've updated since. So like I don't really want to check it out until they actually change it out.
I was only talking to my buddy Sean, who I've had on the cast before, and he was telling me about the premiere, and I saw a picture from inside the theater, and they had like the really old, like kind of fold down seats and stuff. And I was like, bro, that's like shocking in 2025 that you're sitting in those shitty seats. And he's like, man, yeah, it really did kind of take something away. And I think we're kind of spoiled in a way that, we're so used to sitting in these big, like, leather recliners and, flaking and watching movies. But my argument to that is like, the cinema is so fucking expensive now that we should be getting that. Like that I see as standard treatment these days. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like for us over here, I don't know what it is like for you, but like for me to buy IMAX tickets and to pre-book them online, it's just shy of like 50 euros, which is like nearly $55 just for the seats. And then you got to pay like another like 35 on top for food on the day. Like it's nearly $100 day out, like, so like for that, I definitely want to have my feet reclined, sitting in a comfortable couch, watching it with the best possible picture and the best possible sound, like 100%. You know what I mean? If you want to sit me in a piece of shit old chair that's been there since 2005, it's like, yeah, fine, but I'm not paying top dollar to go see it then, Dan says my town has a fake IMAX, not worth it. Yeah, dude. Like I was only talking about like we only have 2 IMAX screens in Dublin, and there's close to 2 million people living here now, and it's Ireland, I believe, is in Europe like the highest like sales of cinema tickets in the EU, I believe. I think I read that a couple of weeks ago. So like we go to see movies more than anybody else in Europe, and we have 2 IMAX screens. Like how insane is that? Like they're building a new cinema, I believe, 10 minutes down the road from where I live. And I was saying like they better have an IMAX screen there. Like, come on, like, you know what I mean? Like if they do, they could potentially do a lot of business. But you talk about like Dolby, so like your IMAX screens don't have Dolby sound?
I don't know, man. I really just go like they have 2 separate like theaters. They have the one with Dolby. Like I'm talking about theater rooms actually.
Yeah.
So they do have an IMAX room and a Dolby cinema room.
Yeah.
So they charge accordingly, and apparently the Dolby cinema room is more, and I'm assuming it's because of the seating.
Right.
But
so you can go to an IMAX cheaper than you can go to the Dolby because it's recliners.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But it's what's weird is, and if I were you, I would want to know this, so I would probably ask somebody that works there. But I would ask them like, does the IMAX room actually have like Dolby sound in it? And if they do, then I would it'd be a tougher decision because obviously the IMAX you're going to see, because a lot of the movies are now shot in IMAX for the proper ratios and stuff. So you're going to see more on the IMAX screen than you would on a normal screen. So that kind of like, not to sound like a snobby moviegoer, but like for me, I want to see as much of it as possible. So I find like if I can go see something in IMAX, I know I'm going to get a bit more out of it. So I nearly look for that now. Like when I went to see 28 Years Later, it was like I was in it like a really small old school screen. And for that movie, it probably works because that's the vibe of the old movie. Like, it's shot it was shot on like iPhones and shit, and like it's meant to feel old because they're kind of trapped in the past and all this shit. Like so, it worked for that. But if I was like sitting watching an action movie in that screen, like the F1 movie or something on a small screen like that, I'd be pissed off. And like knowing that what the actual movie's like in IMAX, you know what you're missing, So yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
Like for me, it's all part of the experience, and it's all an important part of the experience for me. Like I know some people probably don't really care. They'll just go and see it in any screen. Like they just want to see the film. They don't care what screen it's in. Um, like I've had this conversation with people. Like I think one of my friends said he went to see Jurassic Park, and I was like the new Jurassic one, whatever it was, Jurassic Rebirth. And I was like, I was like, did you go see it in IMAX? And he was like, no, I just went to see it in like screen 7 or something, like a just random crappy screen. Like I was like, bro, how could you do that? Like, like especially for something like that where like it's going to be a spectacle with all the dinosaurs and stuff like that. Like I'm like, I would want to see that on the biggest screen possible, IMAX preferably, if not like definitely like a 4K screen with Dolby sound. So yeah,
Fair
I don't know.
enough.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm a movie snob, but I'll tell like we've got in December the new Avatar movie's coming out. I believe there's a trailer dropping soon for it, and I like 100% will like. I'm not a big fan of the Avatar movies. I like to watch them on the big screen, in
Mhm.
3D for the first one, and then IMAX for the second one, and this new one I'll definitely see it in IMAX as well. But I won't really watch them again then after that. I feel like those kind of movies are just like a cinema experience, and then I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same at home, you know?
Fair enough. Yeah, I can get
Oh,
that.
Shark,
I can
what's
get
up?
over
How
with
are
that.
you? Wasn't available over here in IMAX. The Jurassic World, that's crazy. Yeah,
That's weird.
I think they fucked up. I think Hollywood fucked up this year. They put too much stuff. Like there wasn't a lot going on in like May, June. There was a few bits, obviously, like F1 came out at the end of June, but like mistake me, like correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there was much going on in May. There wasn't much going on at the start of June, but then like end of June, start of July, and to where we are now, it's just been blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster, and they're all getting in each other's way. Like the Superman movie sitting on like 416 million globally right now, and like realistically, they have today is probably the last day that they're going to bring in any kind of real money before Fantastic Four drops tomorrow. Like
Mhm.
realistically, 90% of cinema goers after tomorrow are going to see this new movie. They're going to see Fantastic Four. So like realistically, the box office for Superman's going to slow way down now. And like, the budget was like 225. I think they needed about 600, 650 to break even. Like that movie's it's gonna lose money. Like it's crazy. Whereas if they brought it out in May and gave it a proper 4 week stint of nothing really getting in its way, it could have made an extra 200 million, I would say, easily. So I don't really know what they're doing, man. It's crazy. And then like Fantastic Four is going to come out. It's going to have no real competition because like again, people who want to see Superman will have seen it already. And F1 will be gone, and other stuff like Jurassic Park. Again, you'll probably have seen it already if you wanted to see it. It's
Mhm.
just F4 is going to have like a couple of weeks by itself, and it's going to have no competition. And I bet you it'll. Hmm, I'm gonna guess it's gonna do about 700 globally by the end.
That's not too bad though. I mean,
It's pretty
I
good.
could see your yeah, but I could see your point. Like it there's so many good movies coming out lately, which is good. Like we're eating good on movies, we're eating
Yeah,
good on video games. Like everything's kind of coming together for this year. I think 2025 has just been really good,
26
and
is probably gonna be even better too.
I would hope so.
I think it is. Like gaming wise, I think 26 is going to be huge. Obviously, with GTA coming out and stuff, like that's going to change the fucking world. And I think we've got like is Doomsday 26 and Spider-Man is 26 as well. And we've got like Punisher, Daredevil season 2. Like there's a long list of stuff coming out next year. It's going to be crazy.
Right.
Sharky says, got snubbed seeing Jurassic Park because of the F1. It was too close to the release date. Like, did you go see F1? Is an important question because honestly, F1 was, and I'm still thinking about F1 now. I'm like counting down the days until I can buy it digitally. Like, and that is so rare for me. Like, I never do that. Like, even with movies that I love,
Hmm.
like, I'll go see them, and then I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I can wait for the digital release, and I don't think about it again. And I'm like, oh shit, that's out in digital now. Great. This one, I'm like checking. I'm checking on the Apple TV like to see if it's gone up yet so that I can watch it again. The movie blew me away. Like it's crazy. I've watched all 7 seasons of Drive to Survive on Netflix, the F1 documentary and everything. Like I'm fucking hooked. Um, I was trying to tell people I did sell a few tickets for Odeon. You know, if you're listening, Odeon, hit me with a bit of commission. But because I did sell a few tickets, but I was trying to sing it from the fucking from the rooftops, man. Like the movie was absolutely brilliant, and it was a fucking spectacle. And I saw some people on Twitter were posting up videos of them going to see it, and they were seeing it on like 4DX screens where like the seats were moving during the races and all. And I was like, shit, that would have been fun to see too. I would have if that was available here, I would have gone to see it maybe 2 or 3 times because that would have just felt like you were actually in the car. Like it would have been brilliant. What's your prediction for F4? Like do you think box office wise?
Dude, I haven't even seen F1 yet.
Okay. All right. Okay. You need to see F1 and then you need to watch F2, F3, and then we'll get down to F4. No, Fantastic Four. What do you think about what are your predictions?
I think it's actually going to be homely. I think it's going to be a fun one. I'm really hoping to see Galactus in all his glory, and I hope it's not just him sizing down and destroying buildings. I'm hoping he kind of like expands and goes like into the world, like, or like kind of puts his arms around the world, kind of showcases like how powerful he can be. I think that'd be so fucking cool.
Is he giving us a hug or is it like a squeeze?
Well, just the aspect, like kind of like you've seen shots like on comic books, right, where he's like literally about to crush the world with his hands, or he's like just holding it in, like I could do whatever I want.
I've seen pictures of him where like he's so big that he just opens his mouth and it's like he's swallowing planets like Maltesers.
Yeah,
like, so he can get that big.
So fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, and I think one of the trailers, I've stopped watching. It gets to that point where Marvel just go ridiculous with releasing like TV spots and clips and official clip this and fucking here's the first 5 minutes. We've talked about this before, but they're at that stage now where their YouTube channel is just putting up different clips every fucking 12 minutes, and I'm just like, I'm done. I've seen. I watched the final trailer and that's it. I'm finished. I don't want to see anymore. I heard, was it Heavy Spoilers or somebody talking about the movie, and they were saying like some of the CGI even in the trailers is different in the final product. Like the bit with Johnny and Ben falling together, and he's like, "What time is it?" or whatever. And he's like, "Say it." Like in that scene, Johnny's actually on fire, whereas he's not in the trailer. So like they've kind of done some cool things where they've finished it, like polished it up and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I've definitely seen way too much already. Like there's that scene where they go to space and you see Galactus and it looks like he's sitting in a big throne and he looks gigantic. Like, yeah, like, oh.
That's going to be sick.
Yeah, plug it to my veins. Less is more. Facts, Sharky. Facts. Yeah, like I think it's going to be I think it's going to be received very well. I've heard, Pedro's great. I've heard, they're the whole cast. I've heard they're all brilliant. I've heard maybe should be a little bit more Ben Grimm. Like I feel some people were saying like they felt like he could have used a little more screen time. And again, I'll need to see it myself to see what they're talking about. But from everything that I've heard, I was listening to the one thing that I heard negatively was the CGI around Franklin was a little spotty, like baby CGI. So.
It's again, a fake kid. Weird.
I've no idea what that means. Like, is there going to be a scene where he gets like thrown across a room or some shit? I've no idea. Like, but apparently there's some bad baby CGI, which I don't know. You watch The Flash, like it can't be as bad as The Flash. that opening scene, Flash with the kids.
Fair enough.
There's no way it's going to be that bad. So yeah, it is what it is. I try not to nitpick that much. Like, if I come out of the movie and that's the only thing I'm upset about, it's an absolute win.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's an absolute win. Apparently the Punisher special, they started filming that today or yesterday maybe. There's a little
I
short little
remember you were
video.
telling me about that. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, so do you remember the end of Daredevil season 1, or yeah, Daredevil season 1, or whatever you want to call it.
Like Born
The
Again.
Born Again, yeah, season 1. He's like locked in the cage or whatever. I think that's going to lead in directly into his own. He's getting his own like kind of. You remember they did Werewolf by Night? It was like a 45-minute kind of Halloween special.
Yeah.
They're doing they're doing a Punisher special. So I don't really know what the story's going to be about, but the picture that I saw of Frank, he's wearing like a trench coat and he's like he's walking on the set. And he's got a big fluffy beard and stuff. So I don't know if that means that we're doing a time jump forward or maybe back or something like that. Because obviously at the end of Daredevil, he's clean shaven again. So I don't know
Right.
if he's going to be locked up for a little while and maybe he escapes and we move on from there. But obviously anything Bernthal, I'm in, 100%. Like 26, we're gonna have that. We're gonna have Daredevil season 2, like Born Again season 2, where he's gonna be in that as well. And then he's confirmed for Spider-Man Brand New Day as well. So we're getting 3 projects next year with Bernthal in it, which is crazy. Like from nothing to just jam-packed Punisher. It's great. What a time to be alive.
All right. And I'm hoping to see more like gore from his end, because I know with Born Again, it wasn't like, oh my God, it was fucking graphic. It was still pretty tame.
It was.
So going into Punisher, that's gonna feel so fucking good.
Do you know what's going to be weird though? Because obviously, maybe they downplayed him a little bit just so he didn't like shine a spotlight on himself and take over from Daredevil.
Mhm.
And maybe they did that on purpose. I'm not sure, but obviously we're going to have his show, which is going to be just like, I presume, just blood and guts everywhere. Going to be like completely gory. But then you have him stepping into a Spider-Man movie. Like, what's that going to be like? He's going to have to calm it down a bit. Like, I don't think he's going to be shooting people in the face and taking people's heads off like in a Spider-Man movie. You know what I mean? Like, the Spider-Man movie is probably going to be like PG-13 or something, right? So they're gonna
Unless they decide to go comic wise and like things are just so fucking yoked that he can just go ape shit.
Would Sony do that? Is what I've been thinking.
Probably not, but it'd be cool if they did,
It'd be so cool. I would love like a rated R Spider-Man where like, Tom stops holding back, gets a little dark, being alone in the universe is just kind of driving him a bit crazy. He starts kind of losing it a bit, going down that Andrew road a bit, like, getting a bit dark.
Mhm.
That'd be so fucking cool to see.
It's
I
so
just don't,
fucking sick.
I don't think Sony would allow it, and I don't think Disney would really want to do it either for Spider-Man. Like, I know they're kind of dipping the toe into the mature rated stuff a lot more now,
Mhm.
but I don't know if they do it with somebody like Spider-Man, which is obviously they're banking on that to be like a family friendly movie. Like, they want families of 6 going to see that on the big screen. Like, they want to be clawing in as much money as possible for that. So I don't think they go full blown with it, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I mean, I'm only one guy, and I still buy like 4 to 5 seats just for
Yeah.
I buy it for the comfort, but also
Yeah.
like, if Mex, people in the chat know Mex. Sometimes he's like, man, I would love to go to that film, and I'm like, I got tickets if you want to go.
That's
So
cool.
I always invite him when I get the chance.
Yeah. That's deadly. I love that. I'd do the same if I lived close as well, like, why not? I had a friend who his older brother used to do that. Like, back in the day, he'd go to the cinema by himself, but he'd buy 3 seats and he'd sit in the middle, so no one could sit beside him. So he has a free
Yeah,
seat
no,
each side of him, and like
I do the same thing.
he'd put his coat or something on one side, or his jacket, and then he'd put all his food on the other side. And if someone came up and tried to sit in his seat, he'd be like, "No, someone's sitting there," and then he'd just be so chuffed, just sitting in the middle. No one able to touch him. I find, like, again, I only really go to IMAX screens now myself, and the IMAX screens for us have the big recliners, and they're in like pairs of 2, so they're kind of spaced out naturally anyway, so I don't really have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
Like, and again, there's enough space in front of me when I'm like proper reclined, sitting, flaking, watching the movie. There's still enough space in between so that if someone beside me needs to walk out to use the bathroom, I don't need to even move my feet. Like, that's how much space there is. So yeah, they're really spaced out. It's really nice. again, I'm paying top dollar. This should be the treatment that we're getting. This is how I feel.
Right.
Give us everything. Like we deserve it. We're paying that much fucking money for it. So, yeah, Punisher is going to be great. 2026 is looking really good. I heard some Moon Knight news today, which I immediately thought of you because I know you're a big Moon Knight fan. Apparently, season 2 has been greenlit. It's going to take
No, I
place.
saw that.
It's going to take place in Phase 7, apparently. So this is going to be after the fact, after all the movies and everything. So
Mm.
after Secret Wars. So you're probably looking at around 28 for that, which is so depressing to think about. I look down at the bottom right hand corner of my PC there, and it's like seeing 2025. I'm like, shit, 3 years. 2028, man, is crazy to think like that they have that plan, like like they're that far ahead. Like it's scary to think it. But I'm like, Jesus, what will we be doing in 2028? Like,
I
scary.
don't know, man. I'm really hoping that there's a lot of good stuff in between, leading up to Moon Knight, and not just like, drag after drag, because then it's going to turn into the exact same thing we've dealt with a lot, which is like,
Yeah.
I'm tired, and then by the time we get to Moon Knight, it's like,
yeah, like this can't be good now because they've just ruined everything else. I don't think so. I'm gonna be positive. I said this before we went live. I said this should be a positive stream today. I'm feeling like we're in a good mood here. So, and it's all good news. It's all good news. So, I think I'm gonna say yes. It's gonna be good. I don't know if you saw Feige put out a big interview, like this big, long, massive article talking about the MCU and everything, and he basically said in the interview that there will be a reset after Secret Wars, which again, I've been talking about this for fucking 2 years now. It's like this is the reboot. He's not calling it a reboot. He's like, I'm purposely not using the word reboot because reboot sounds scary, but he has said that after Secret Wars there will be a reset of the universe. And I think why he's saying that is because we're gonna have people like Tom Holland, like Chris Hemsworth, like Ryan Reynolds, all these people that they want to keep around, all the good ones they'll keep, and then anyone that they feel like, hey, you didn't really make it, we're going to reboot your character, we're going to start again with your character because it's a new universe. But I think they're going to just pick and choose what they want, kind of like what James Gunn is doing with the DCU. Like he's just giving John Cena a job and moving him across, and it's like Superman, nah, don't like you, let's reboot you, but Peacemaker, yeah, you're cool to stay. Like I think that's what they're going to do. Like Spider-Man, yeah, you're grand, you could stay. Thor, yeah, Hemsworth has said he wants to keep going. Feige said you can keep going as long as you want. Like we'll keep you around for 20 more years. If you want to do it, we're gonna keep you. So, I think people like that will obviously hang around. Then I think what they'll probably do is all the kind of bad movies, I would say they'll probably try and reset or reboot them, and then in this new Earth 616 or whatever Earth Prime or whatever they're going to do, they'll bring in like X-Men. They'll be there the whole time. They'll reestablish the timeline. Same with Fantastic Four, like the whole shebang, and I presume we'll get a whole new round of Fantastic. And well, no, I'd say they'll probably still use like Pedro and stuff, but we'll get like a whole new round of like X-Men and stuff, because he says in the interview that he wants to kind of replicate First Class, and he wants to kind of start again. So like young actors playing all these roles.
Gotcha.
So I'm curious how that will work. It will. I think it's the proper way to do it. It wouldn't really make sense if you just dropped in, a lot of the and I love James McAvoy, I love Michael Fassbender and stuff, but it would just kind of feel really strange if it's like, oh, hey, these guys have been here the whole time. Like it's like, what? I think it's like, let's just start again. If they reset the timeline and it's like, the mutants have been here the whole time, fine. And maybe that's how Jackman gets to come in or something, with Deadpool, and just kind of insert themselves into the timeline, and they've just been around for 50 years or something because they're immortal, basically. Like that, I'd be okay with that. That's fine. But
yeah, I'm more than happy to just like, again, I'm not a fan of reboots, so I'm hoping that's what they're trying to do, is not necessarily reboot, but just kind of like mesh everything together and just say like, okay, here's the new spot.
Yeah, I think they're,
because then we'll still get memories from like older things that I think would be fantastic. I think it will maintain the integrity of the world itself and not give us this whole like, oh, we fucked up. There's so much shit that we can't put in because we've already established that, such and such is already gone or whatnot. So like this will give us like a new drive without having it to feel like it's a full on reboot.
Yeah, yeah. I think like he mentions something about like there will eventually be like a new Captain America and a new Iron Man. Like they will eventually recast those characters.
Which is good.
It is good, and I wonder like where like Sam Wilson sits after that. Like for example, like will they just do something where I don't know if they're ballsy enough to kill him, but maybe they, when the timeline resets, maybe he goes back to being Falcon or something. I don't know.
I mean, he can like that. That's a whole story in and of itself as well. Like it's not like it has to be Sam the entire time. But I don't mind if he does a bit more work as Captain America. I don't want it to, like it would kind of suck in my opinion if it was just a one and done for him to being Captain America. I think he needs a little more time because
So
that's the thing in the comics, and
yeah,
give him some time, give him some screen time. I like Anthony Mackie's work. I think he does pretty well. I think the script was a bit shitty, and he didn't really get like a good spot on the limelight. I liked Captain like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I don't see why this would be any different.
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I've watched it 3 times now, and I like this. The 2 times that I rewatched it, it flowed a lot better for me in the rewatch. A lot better.
Good.
Sorry, Finto, is your IMAX a laser or digital IMAX? I actually don't know the answer to that question. I think it's laser because
I didn't even know that's the thing.
we have 4K laser in a different screen in the same theater. So I think the projectors are probably the same because they're fitted with the same like sound and stuff. So I think that they're similar. So I think they are laser, but don't quote me on that. I'll try find out. Actually, I am curious. What was I saying there? We were talking about the timeline. Yeah, like I like Sam, but I preferred him as Falcon, honestly. And I was never really a big Captain America fan, but like just the MCU and Steve Rogers and Chris Evans and stuff like made me really fucking love Captain America. And a lot of people outside of America, I think, find Captain America to be quite cheesy, and I fucking just love him. Like I think he's brilliant, and I just want Steve Rogers back. Like I nothing against Anthony Mackie or anything like that. I would just like to have Steve Rogers back in the movies. It's nothing to do with Anthony Mackie at all. I just think if he went back to being Falcon and we got Steve back, that would be my dream scenario. But if they're going to recast and go back again, I don't know. It would be so weird if they did just kind of recast and go back, and then it's like, you're Falcon again. Like in the reset, do the actors who stay, do they remember the old timeline? Like, I wonder, will that be explained? Like, I presume it will. But like, do you think that they remember the timeline? So like, you get Tom Holland coming in. He remembers like Aunt May dying and all that sort of stuff, and living in the MCU with Tony Stark and everything, and Robert Downey Jr. And then if they reset the timeline and go back, does Spidey remember that? Hang on a second, that's not the Iron Man who used to be my mentor, who is the same guy who was Doctor Doom, who we fought for 2 Avengers movies. Like, who's this guy? That's not Tony Stark. Like, I wonder how they do that. Like, I wonder how, like, if they keep Mackie, how does Mackie interact with a new Captain America? I'm curious.
So what you're saying is like you want Captain America to return, and it's a different Captain America.
Well, I don't necessarily want that. Like, my dream scenario would be Chris Evans to come back, but I realize that that's probably not going to happen. It could happen, but it probably won't happen. But what
I don't think it should happen, to be honest. Like you, the crowd desperately wants, and you desperately want a fucking Nomad situation, which I'm all in on.
I'd love all that as well. But I think by the end of it, when we get into the reset and we start again, kind of wink, wink, and we start phase 1 of the new timeline, it would be nice to have a Steve Rogers around, because I think he's just such a pinnacle part of the Avengers and just everything, like the MCU, like So what I was asking is like, do you think that they do a thing where it's like it's like going back in time, and a time like the time stream changes and people are just forced into a new time stream and they are not aware of the previous timeline or something? Or do you think that all these people who survive Secret Wars, are they going to be like, oh, okay, guys, we're in a brand new universe now, let's just, make the best of it? I just don't know which way they're going to go with it. Like, it's going to be interesting to see.
I think at the very least, I'll like if the more you say it, the more I'm like, okay, well now I'm starting to back out of it because it's just getting really
Sounds ridiculous.
it's like it's ridiculous, but it's also like very convoluted. It's hard to determine because it's one of those things of like, how fucked up do you really want to make this? Like, do you want to make it like sloppy as shit? Do you want to make it a clean getaway? Do you want to make it like easy as pie? Like, what do you want? Like, do you want them to return to the original ways, but there's additional like effects to it? Do you want them to pop up in a different universe because this universe got destroyed in the whole like span of things? Do you want it to like there's so many things that are unanswered like so far, and it's really hard to determine what you can really get out of them, because it also costs money. The more you tell me like, oh, I would love Chris Evans to be back, cha-ching, that's a lot of fucking money. You want RDJ to come back and he's back as Doom, but you also want him to come back as Iron Man, cha-ching, that's more fucking money as that. So I would say fuck that. Don't worry about Chris Evans, don't worry about RDJ. Give us some new blood, give us a new Captain America, give us a new Iron Man, give us some new shit. I really don't care whether or not they come back. They did their job. They did a fantastic job of being those characters. I believe them as those characters. And as usual, like in comic books, they pass on the torch or they redo things and now it's a different looking character. Not every comic is built the same way. That's why we get different iterations, which I think is so fun about it.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think you're right, but I think Disney and Marvel and Hollywood are only thinking about the dollar signs, and it's how do we save as much of the powerhouse that was the MCU that made us all this money. Phases 1 to 3 made like something like 28 billion or something crazy like that. So like I think they're in a kind of break glass situation at the moment where it's like, this is why they've brought Robert Downey Jr. back, like, because it's like, okay. And I always laugh at that clip straight after he died in Endgame. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast and Rogan was like, would you come back? And he's like, that kind of defeats the purpose of doing the whole thing. I'm dead now. If I just come back, like, kind of just, isn't that kind of stupid? And
yeah,
Downey,
it is.
That's what Downey says, and he's right. And Joe says, yeah, but what if they do like, a couple of years of shit movies without you, and then you have this big triumphant return? He predicted it exactly like years ago. This was back in like 2020, and that's exactly what has happened. The MCU went from the peak all the way down to like Thor the Dark World fucking Ville, and they've just been living there for a little bit. Now this year has been great. Again, I know I'm trying to be positive this stream. I'm not trying to be negative, but this year has been on the upturn. We're getting back to 8 out of 10s and stuff like that. It's fantastic. But the problem is that they're not fucking making money. Like Thunderbolts lost 100 million. Superman's probably going to lose 200 million. Like, the box office isn't where it used to be. Like the Hollywood has changed, and I think they've got the hammer. They've broken the glass. Shit, we need RDJ back. We got to pay him 100 million. So what? We're gonna make this film will make 2 billion. Who cares? You know what I mean? 100 million, fine, give it to him. We need him back. And I just hope that when we get to the end of this next phase, that's not the best shit that we get, because then we're going to be stuck in nostalgia mode, because it's like they're going to keep wanting to do that because it's the only way that they can make money. We're not going to go through another 2 phases of not making money, because at some point they're going to have to turn around and say, guys, we can't make these movies anymore because we're losing money left and right. At the end of the day, they're a business. Obviously I love to watch a movie and not think like, oh, it's a great movie, I don't care if it doesn't make any money. A flop means nothing to me. And yeah, it means nothing to me, but I understand that they can't make 15 flops in a row because they're losing hundreds of millions each time. Like who's paying for these movies? Like, it just gets to a point where we're in rock bottom here. Like it's red lines across the board. They need to start making money. And I think that's why they've brought Robert Downey Jr. back and why they're bringing back Chris Evans and everybody else, all the fucking X-Men, everybody. Like, I'd say the wage bill for these two movies is going to be like 600 million or something crazy, you know? And I think that they just know we have to do this now because we can't make money any other way. Like, they're bringing out good movies. Like, Thunderbolts was fantastic. Great fucking movie. Didn't deserve to lose 100 million, but it did. Fantastic Four is, I'm told, a good movie. Is it going to make them money? That's the question. We'll be talking about it here in a couple of weeks' time. You know, I'm glued to the box office, like, because it's an important part of it when you're talking about this, in my opinion. Like, looking at Superman, it's got 416 million right now, and it's been out for 2 weeks. That's the global number. And, you know, the US and Canada number is 243. Like, they only make half of that back. So really that's 120. And the budget was 225. And the abroad number, the global number, anything outside of the US and Canada, they may only make 1/3 of that money back. So they need, that's why they say like the golden rule is kind of, you know, 2.5 or sometimes 3 times the budget is what your target is to make money on the movie. And I believe Superman had about a marketing budget of about 200 million as well. So they need to make about fucking 700 or 800 million to break even. Like, they're scary numbers when it's been out for 2 weeks. As I said to you at the start, today is the last day for it to make some money before it has the competition of the MCU tomorrow, and it's on 416 million. Do you think it's going to make 400 million tonight? No,
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 not really.
not a chance. It'll make if it makes another 100 million by the time we sit down next, I'll be impressed. I think it's done though. And then you look at something like the Formula One movie, which I think is as close to a 10 out of 10 experience that I've had in the cinema in a very long time. Absolutely incredible. Loved it. 200 million budget. And it's been out since the 26th of June, and it's 464 million globally. So like, Superman's nearly caught up to it in 2 weeks. So like, Hollywood are shaking, man. They're shaking in their boots. They don't know what to do. They can't make money. Like, the whole industry is changing, and it's a scary time, man, because I just don't know. Are we sitting down in 10 years' time and talking about movies that we're going to see on the big screen? Like, does the cinema die? I don't know. Like, they're going to probably like try and make another shift to doing like streaming and digital releases and all this sort of stuff to try and just claw in as much money as possible. You know, if you do a digital release and you own the streaming platform, is it a lot easier to just do your marketing through your streaming platform like Netflix or Apple or, you know, Amazon or whatever, or Disney Plus? You know, do you not like, they're not going to have to pay to put like, you know, posters on the side of buses and stuff like that. You know, maybe they claw back a lot of money that way. I really don't know, man. But it's a scary time. It's a really scary time. Yeah. And I just pray that the MCU aren't just relying on nostalgia grabs the entire time, because it's just going to get so old so fucking fast. It's old already. It really is. Like, you know, like, I've seen a lot of people turn on Deadpool 3, for example. Like, we all loved it when we walked out of the cinema. We thought, oh, this is brilliant, this is great. But when you kind of let that movie sit with you for a little while and maybe watch it 1 or 2 more times, you're kind of like, this is just a fucking nostalgia grab. There's nothing really going on. The story is weak as fuck. And the movie, while it's an absolute roller coaster ride of laughs and fun, and it's great to see, you know, all the Wolverines and everything, like, it's fucking brilliant, right? But at the end of the day, from a movie making point of view, like, it is just a complete cash grab nostalgia itch, as Max is saying. Like, like, how long can you do this? Like, you know, like, if they brought out another movie and like Deadpool 4, if they do the same thing again, like, are people just gonna be like, ah, come on, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, give us a real movie, you know? Like, how long can it last?
As long as Ryan Reynolds is funny.
maybe.
That's the whole gist of it. Like, Ryan Reynolds sells it as Deadpool. He shows himself as like capable of being the character, just like Chris Evans is capable of being Captain America, just like RDJ is capable of being Iron Man.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like, now that you have them, you have the cost, and it only gets even more expensive as time goes on. So like, it's really on the idea of like, how much money are you willing to throw at them to just keep coming back, which I don't think it's.
Do you think Robert Downey Jr. is a bit of an asshole for taking that much money?
No. He deserves every bit of it.
I think now, and I don't just say this about Robert Downey Jr. I say this about professional footballers, like professional athletes, everybody. I think it gets to a point where they just start making stupid amounts of money, and it's not real anymore. You know what I mean? Like you look at like Cristiano Ronaldo, like he makes like $1,000 a minute or something. Like it's crazy. Like you don't need that much money. Like how much money does Robert Downey Jr. need? You know what I mean? Like can he just sign a contract for like 10 years? They give him 100 million and then be like, that's it, bro. You're done. Like, there's your 100 million and, here's your cut of the box offices or whatever. And then if they perform well, you get a cut, whatever it is. Like, I think, come back for 2 movies, here's 100 million. And then it's like, oh shit, we need him again. Another 100 million to do another movie. Like, that's why they killed him off the first time. Like, I'm convinced of it. Like, when he was in like Spider-Man Homecoming and he got paid 15 million for 8 minutes screen time. Like, that's just mental money. So it's like, at what point does he turn around and say, look, this is it, this is enough? Like, I don't know. I just feel like for me, I would like to think that as a person, I would be able to turn around after making stupid amounts of money to turn around and say, like, guys, at this point, you've looked after me for 20 years, you're looking after me for 10 more. I have a net worth of fucking $500 million. I have more money than I can ever spend, my kids and grandkids and so on. Like, let's just make some more fucking movies. So, you know what I mean? Let's just make people happy. Like, I wouldn't be looking for the 100 million every single time I go to do a movie. Like, it just gets greed. It just becomes pure greed at some point. Like, I don't agree with it personally. And I'm the exact same when it comes to footballers and, like boxers and all this sort of stuff. Like, I understand, like, maybe a little more for boxing and stuff. Like, you're putting your health on the line. That's a bit different. But, you get these like footballers who are just making stupid amounts of money to play a fucking kids game. And, they're making more money than they can ever fucking spend. It's
Stupid
silly.
Amount of money to play a kids game.
It is a kids game. Football is a kids game. Like, kids, you're chasing a ball around a field wearing shorts. Like, come on. Like, you don't need $100 million a year to do that. Like, you know what I mean? If you
need
like,
100 million to knock their asses to the fucking ground and score a touchdown.
Sorry, I'm talking about soccer here, not American football.
Well, say that. I'm American, sir.
I know. I'm sorry. I should be speaking American here. I'm talking about soccer. I thought when I said Cristiano Ronaldo, I meant real football, not American.
I wasn't
football.
paying attention to the people.
Sorry. But yeah, like I'm a big ice hockey fan. Like, I think the most an ice hockey player gets paid a year is maybe like 10 million or something, or I think like 13, 15 million, something like that. Like, and like, I think that's a lot of money, obviously, a year to be paid, but that's a lot more realistic than some of these guys getting like $100 million contracts and stuff. It's disgusting, in my opinion. Absolutely disgusting.
I mean,
Dan in the chat here just mentioned, sorry, this was just a previous question he was talking about. So Cineworld is one of the big screen cinema providers for us, and they do a 2K fake IMAX, but Odeon, which is cinema that I go to, have 4K laser. I had a feeling, because I was like, I know these screens are just top notch. So I was pretty, I'd say 80%, 85% sure that it was actual laser, because it's just so good, man. I'd love, if you're ever over here, we're gonna go see a movie. I'm gonna bring you to my cinema and we'll go sit down and watch a movie, and I'll like show you what like we view this shit. Like, I'd love to do that.
Oh,
that'd be
absolutely,
so cool,
man.
Yeah,
I would love that.
That'd be sick as fuck. Hopefully we can do that someday. That'd be cool. Sorry, were you gonna say something there? I probably could.
I forgot, man. Honestly, if I don't say it drops.
I'm sorry. So James Gunn was on a podcast there the other day, and he was talking a lot about, the DCU and all that sort of stuff. And Josh Horowitz is a guy who he sat down with. Shout out to him. He's got this great podcast on YouTube and stuff. He always has these like fantastic guests on, and he had James Gunn on, obviously, around the press tour for Superman. And Josh asked him a question. He said, "Is Pattinson's Batman going to be in the DCU?" And like, James Gunn's like, no. James Gunn says it no. And I've seen a lot of like podcast pages and content on TikTok and stuff like that are all talking about this. And it's like, do you think, and I want to ask you the question, do you think that Robert Pattinson's Batman, that universe, like that Gotham, the Penguin, all that style of stuff that HBO have been doing in the last couple of years, do you see that like fitting into the DCU? Like, would you like him to be part of the DCU? Like that Batman, that Gotham, that Penguin, that world, Would you like that to just be the Gotham City of the new Superman movie that we've seen, the DCU that has just started?
It
Or would
really
you like
depends on like what their scope is. If their scope is to stay on the ground and not do anything more than what they're like, what they're doing right now with Gotham and just kind of showing us the seedy side of it, then it's probably best that it just stays as its own thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe create a new Batman that sits in the world of where Superman exists.
So you want two Batmans then?
I want 100 Batmans. I want all the Batmans, all the different iterations of Batman.
Okay.
I want the Batman who laughs. I want.
Oh, that would be so fucking sick, man. I would love that.
Yeah. I want it all.
Is that Robert Pattinson? Or is that a different Batman? That's the question I'm asking you.
Can Robert Pattinson laugh?
Can you see Robert Pattinson turning into the Batman who laughs? Like, or do we need a new Batman to do that?
That's what I'm saying, man. Give me 100 Batman so that I can just do what I want with it.
Well, the Batman who laughs is obviously just a Bruce Wayne variant from the multiverse, right? So it's my understanding when I read those comic books was that it was all the same Bruce, but it's just a twisted version of the exact same Bruce that we have. So if you want to talk about that, like movie wise, it will be Robert Pattinson from a different universe who gets the Joker talks and becomes the Batman who laughs, right? But it is Robert Pattinson, right?
If they're down to do it, I'm down for that. Like I totally be up for that. I'd love to see his range. I'd love to see how things would unfold, because to be fair, with Robert Pattinson and Batman and like Edward from fucking Twilight, they kind of have the same vibe, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's a guy who's essentially acting as if like he needs to be like, you don't want to follow me, Bella. This is the body of a killer.
Yeah, and he's glistening and like shining like a diamond.
Right. It's very reclusive. So it's like he was able to fit that same like idea within the gloominess of Bruce Wayne in the Batman. So if he can't become the Batman who laughs, then they need to make an entirely different like setting for it.
Yeah. I think from what James has said already, they've announced they're doing like a Brave and a Bold movie, and the Robin is going to be Damian. There's a few different ideas floating around in my head, but like my understanding of that would have to be that the Bat family is well established, because Damian is like the fourth Robin, right? So if Damian is Robin, you've got Nightwing already, you've got Red Hood already, you've got Red Robin already, and then you have like Damian coming in and being Robin. Now there's a comic run where Batman gets lost in time or some shit, and the Robins fight between themselves to see who becomes Batman, because they think Bruce is dead and he's gone. So, and then Dick ends up winning that fight. He becomes Batman, and they've done this a couple of times in the comics where Dick becomes Batman, and then I've seen other comic runs where Damian, they shoot into the future and Damian's Batman. So I wonder, could they do something like that, like where maybe they do a time jump or something like that, where it is Pattinson, but he dies or something like that, or he gets lost in time, and then maybe one of the Robins becomes Batman instead, and then that's how we have a different Batman, but it's technically the same universe. Like, I kind of like that. I would kind of, at the same time, I would love a seasoned Batman to come in. Jensen Ackles getting cast as him or something, or Reacher, your man, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Alan Richardson. Like, if one of those guys got cast as like an older Bruce, and the Bat family's established, we've already had like Joker killing, Jason Todd, and he comes back and all that stuff. That's already well established, and we're in a well lived in world. That would probably be my favorite thing, because we haven't seen anything like that before. Like, I would just love to see a live action Batman going into the Batcave and all the fucking Bat family are already there. Like, I would love that. I think that'd be just so cool. And then we get like side stories of just like Red Robin, or Red Hood and Nightwing and all this sort of stuff, and Batgirl, or maybe it's after the fact that like Joker's paralyzed her and she's in the chair, she's Oracle and all this stuff. Like, there's so many like deep stories that they can go into in Batman that we haven't seen on the big screen that would just be so cool. And I know James is a big nerd, so maybe that's what he's thinking of doing. That's what I would like to see. But if they did turn around and say, look, it actually is the Batman, the movies that we've seen, that is the DCU. I just don't know how, if I can see Robert Pattinson standing beside David Cornsweet and them being in the same universe, it just feels too distant to me. But again, we've only seen one movie, so maybe it makes more sense later on. I don't know. Like, again, to compare, and I hate all this comparison between like Henry Cavill and David Cornsweet, like, because they're just so completely different. Like, anytime I open up Twitter, it's just full of like, who do you prefer? What movie's better? You know, like, it's like, can we not just like both? They're both very different. Like, let's just like say that both are good in their own ways or whatever. You know, it's like I with the Man of Steel obviously is a darker take on Batman or on Superman, sorry. And then when Batman comes into it, it just makes a lot more sense because the two of them are like, it's a much darker tone, that universe, you know, so it kind of feels a little more natural. Whereas if you went from like the happy-go-lucky like Boy Scout and everything's so bright and colorful, and then we just shoot to Robert Pattinson and he's like got his emo makeup on and he's you know with his fridge and everything, and you know it's dark and just depressing and you know real, like, you know, and that's part of what I like about that movie, is just that it feels like the real world, like, you know, whereas this is
So
just so magical. It's so like we've got aliens,
wait,
we've got space, we've got everything, you know.
right. But now I'm curious. Did you ever watch Justice League Unlimited?
Yes, I did. And
Did
I
you
know,
watch any of the Justice League movies?
yeah, I've
Okay,
read a
the
good few
animated
Justice League,
movies and whatnot.
read a good few comics as well and stuff. I know where you're
Okay.
going with it. I know where you're going with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But
don't tell me that. Don't tell me that you can't mix these characters.
you can, and of course, it obviously works better in animation than we've seen it work in live action now. But the point is, then this is what a lot of the arguments online are about, is like, do you feel like it's that the two of them would mix together well, or do we need to just
The
start
two of
again and
who?
just the Robert Pattinson and David Cornsweet, like
They'd
those
work
two
very
worlds?
well.
Do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, seriously, why wouldn't it? Like it's
And
like
it's just, I've heard different angles from the likes of James Gunn where it just doesn't add up. So like what Dan's saying here, like they should be close in age. They should feel like brothers. Like that's a lot of the, you know, a lot of the comic book runs, the two of them become really good friends, nearly brothers, and you know, they go out and double dates with Selena and Lois and all this sort of shit. And you know, Bruce or Clark can hear Bruce's heartbeat anywhere in the world. Like they become that close, like in comics. And
okay.
I just don't know if the two of them could, if that vibe would work on the big screen. Maybe it would. I don't know. But then, you know, when James Gunn says stuff like, you know, we're doing Brave and the Bold, and it's like, well, Batman's like in his 50s then. You know what I mean? Because he's had Damien, who's like 13, and like, you know, he's well established as Batman at that stage because there's been like 3 different Robins. So it's just, it's kind of all over the place, which is very James Gunn, if I'm being honest. Just look at Peacemaker.
Right. It's more so the mixture that you're not understanding is that like we get like they'll say, oh, we want this mixture of this and that. They did the same thing for Iron Man. They said like, oh, it's supposed to be a mixture of the original comics and the Ultimate Comics.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's still its own thing. It's still going to become its own kind of like source material. So in my opinion, it's very hard to just go like, oh, they're not going to get along. Like, why wouldn't they? If you write it in that they're going to get along, they're going to get along. If you're going to write in that Superman beats Batman, Superman beats Batman. If you're going to write in that Batman gets a heart attack, you know, while he's about to destroy Superman, it's written in. So like, I guess my question about that is like, why do you think it wouldn't work? Do you think it's Robert Pattinson's fault in that case? Because like people change, the viewpoints of things change, and if you can't make them change on the screen, you're not doing good writing. If you can't make them change on the screen, you are not doing good directing. Everything falls upon whether or not you can get them to fucking act the way you want them to act. And I say it's so like,
it's more the world build, I think, rather than the actor. It's not Robert. I know Robert Pattinson's a good actor. It's not his acting
yes,
skills. It's the world, you know. Gotham City in this movie is like absolutely based in reality. You know what I mean? Like it's not magical. Like we haven't. Well, sorry, maybe it will be. It could be. We need to see the Batman 2. They've only just finished the script for it. So like again, if Batman 2 starts and we have like, you know, King Shark showing up and Killer Croc and, you know, Clayface and all this sort of shit in that universe, then I would say yes. Like, we know the DCU are starting a Clayface project. So, like, we've got shape-shifting fucking monsters now. The DCU obviously have all of the aliens and clones and Superman and, you know, metahumans. Everything is established there. But in the Batman movie, in Matt Reeves' verse, we'll call it the Reeves verse, it's just Batman. And we've seen the Penguin, he's just a gangster, he's Tony Soprano. We've seen, again, just gangsters. We've seen Catwoman, we've seen Batman, we've seen nothing else. That's it. The Riddler, just psycho, you know, like human being, nothing. I think the most like kind of like weirdest thing that we saw was like 2 seconds of Joker, and he's all like disfigured and fucked up. But that's about it. So where I think the debate is that universe, that world, that Gotham just seems to be too realistic. It's too kind of based in reality, whereas the DCU is just, it's gods and monsters. It's just completely comic book straight away. So maybe Matt Reeves lets his universe catch up to that. You know, like if a Superman was to fly into Gotham right now, I think it would just feel so bizarre because there's nothing, there's no reference to it. There's no inkling of anything going on. It feels like that world is just Batman. It's just a vigilante stopping like standard crime. You know, that's just what that world feels like.
I get what you're saying, but that just tells me that they just need to write it in.
Well, maybe they will, but maybe they won't. You know, like a lot of the rumors are that like Freeze is going to be the villain of the second one. So like again, if Freeze turns out to be like, you know, comic accurate, he's in the big giant suit, he's blue and all this stuff, like then yeah, I kind of see like, okay, well, maybe we could go down the world of aliens and all that sort of stuff coming in. But right now, like if they do Bane, but he's just like Dave Bautista, for example, and he's like doesn't have like the venom going through him and all this sort of stuff like he does in the comics, and it's just like another Tom Hardy. Again, it's kind of like the Nolanverse. The Nolanverse is very much kind of sat in reality. It's kind of just the real world, right? It's just a vigilante who's rich and has money and he's stopping standard crime. There's no like kind of sniff of Superman or the Flash or any of this stuff in Nolan's verse. You know, like,
yeah, you got to sniff them out.
Does Nolan's verse work with Man of Steel? You know, like it's the same sort of question. Like,
it will absolutely work with Man of Steel.
Yeah, but it didn't.
It will work with David Cornsweat's. Like, you're not convincing me otherwise, man. It's all in the writing. It really is. Like you cut these like situations too short, and I'm telling you, it's all based upon the fact that whether or not the actor can actually play the part. It's not so much like I can turn my switch right now. I can be so happy with you right now, and I can turn it off and be like angry, upset with you and whatnot. Like, but can I do it on the big screen? Probably not. Like, but that's the thing. You have to understand that when it comes to these, like, yes, and I can agree with you in some form when it comes to different sectors of characters that come together, they're not necessarily going to get along right away. But that's the point. The point is for them to be strangers and then become friends. Like, what if we get a situation where David Cornsweet and Robert Pattinson are playing these two characters, and essentially you have them walk up to each other and do the exact same thing that they did in the original, like in the Justice League like movies, where Superman flies down, sees Batman, and he's like looks in with his X-ray vision. Is like, Bruce? He's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, what up, Clark? Like, basically, like, they know each other by not knowing each other. If you understand, like, they just know they just know a little bit enough about each other that they're like, I've heard about your work, stuff like that. And then they're able to kind of connect on the same aspect of like, we need to take this guy down together. That's what happened, later on. Like, you see Hal Jordan come in and is like fighting alongside Batman, and Batman's not taking shit from that, like, because Hal Jordan has a little bit of an attitude. And if you think about it, like, Superman has a bit of an attitude too, but he's a little more on the attitude of like, I'm taking the lead on this situation. Batman doesn't need to take the lead, so it's like, you do what you got to do. I'm gonna hang back. I'm gonna scope like what it is that you're trying to do, and if I need to, I'll adjust accordingly. That's the role of these characters. Like, I will hang back. It's fine. I don't need to speak. I don't need to be this like happy-go-lucky part. I don't need to like put my arm around Superman and go, "Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?" That's Hal's job. You know, Hal's the guy that's gonna put his arm around Batman and be like, "What do you think of this guy? Like, what's going on with this?" Like, and then Batman's gonna move forward and be like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine." It's like, I already know about enough about this guy. He's from Krypton. He's Kryptonian. You know, like, and that's comic accuracy, man. Like, having those moments of like, you know, they don't. It's not so much that they're not pals or anything at the start. It's more so that they're getting to know each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you want is the friendship to already be established, and I think that would hamper things a little bit if they don't write it into it.
That's not what I'm asking for at all. So what I'm asking is, do the two worlds mix right now with how they've been presented to us?
They exist in the plane, man. I'm not trying to interrupt you on this, but like, that's the whole point I'm saying, is like, they exist in the plane for a reason. Why can't you have the nice and shiny, like, you know, Metropolis and the dark and gloomy Gotham? If you were to play DC Universe Online right now, that literally happens. You go from Metropolis and it's like nice and sunny and whatnot. You go to Gotham and it's like, there's Joker in the factory over there. There's like a bunch of gas just like hanging out. It's all dark and gloomy. It's just how those areas work, but they exist in the world. It's not world, it's world.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get to you.
I know what you're trying to say, and I understand. And that's the DC comics that I read all the time, and that's perfect, and I love it. And, you know, I'll be reading a Green Arrow comic and Hal Jordan comes down because the two of them are best friends. And that's fine because it works in that world. But where this is right now, the Reeves universe and the DCU technically aren't the same thing. It's Elseworlds. They're two different universes. They're not the same thing. So the question is do they just get a new Batman and start again, and then you have Reeves as a separate universe, or do you just bring the Reeves universe in, and this whole time it's technically just been the one world? That's the question, and that's what people are debating.
Right. And my question to them is, do you want to write it that way?
Well, I suppose we haven't seen that yet. We don't know what Matt Reeves wants. He doesn't want it. He wants his to remain its own thing. That's why he doesn't want to be part of the DCU. He doesn't want Wonder Woman showing up. He doesn't want Superman. He doesn't want any metahumans, none of that shit. He just wants a Batman story. He wants it grounded in reality, where it's just a rich guy. There's no superhumans. There's none of this shit. It's just real, wink, wink, right? That's what he wants. But James Gunn is like, do we just, because it's like, it's a big success and, you know, Robert Pattinson's great, do we just somehow tweak it around, do some bits, and then it is actually just the DCU? And then, you know, there's a after credit scene in Supergirl where Robert Pattinson just walks in and it's like, hey, what's up? You know, we see his car shoot by and it's like, holy shit, it is the one world. You know, that's kind of the thing. I've no doubts that, and I love the banter between Bruce and Clark. I love the banter between Batman and Superman. Like, I love all that in the comics and in the animes and all that sort of stuff. That's not what I'm worried about. I think Robert Pattinson could do that. I just think, are the worlds the same or not? That's the argument.
All right. Let's quote what's his name? Stan Lee? Let's quote him. If we wanted it to happen within the comics, we would write it to be so. If they want to have these two areas be in the same universe, they're going to go and negotiate it. They're going to figure out how much money it costs, and they're going to talk to the actors. They're going to tell them, like, your guys are going to be in the same universe now. And there you go. Like, what, like, that's what I don't understand. That's the only reason why I'm fighting you on this, Pinto, is the fact that, like, there is no debate. unless they were on the, like, in the board, they were talking together and they were saying, hey, we want your part of Gotham to be within the world of, like, Superman. And what if they're like, no, we want your part of Superman to be in the world of Gotham? So then that's, like, more of the question that I would want is, like, who's going to take the world, essentially? Who's going to be the prime example of the world itself? When you're just telling me, like, oh, can these two areas, like, be in the same world? Absolutely they can. Are they negotiating for it? No? Then maybe they haven't thought about it. Are they, like, did they negotiate and they said no? Oh, well, if they said no, that means that they're separate worlds that can no longer be apart from each other. And I guess that's where I'm trying to get my point across. Is that, like, unless it's written in stone, yes, it can be part of it.
Yeah.
You can absolutely. It is. And then at that point, you're like, well, how do things work between these two? I don't know. We got to see it on the big screen. It's like if you ask me, it's like, oh, Alex, can Amadeus show, or can Ironheart fit into the world of Doctor Strange? It's like, well, now we're going to find out, because apparently we have magic in Ironheart.
That's it. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's
weird.
It's a weird thing.
That's different, because the MCU.
How is that different?
The MCU is.
They literally wrote it in.
No, but the MCU is an established world with Doctor Strange, with magic, with everything in it already. These two,
yes.
Like, this is the Reeves verse is, as far as we know right now, the Reeves verse has nothing but just Batman.
Yeah, and cool. That's great. And so that ends the discussion of whether or not they're going to be compatible. But once negotiations go through and they're like, we're going to bring in Robert Pattinson's Batman into the world of Superman with David Corenswet. Oh my God, magic. Everything is all of a sudden existing. We have Solomon Grundy, we have Frost, like, and those characters can still exist within that within the universe with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
But now you have it meshed together. Metahumans now exist within the Batman area.
If they do that, if they do that, all bets are off. You're 100%. They can do anything then.
Right.
But they haven't made that decision. And I suppose
right.
the original question, not can they do it? Would you like them to do it? It is the original question. Yeah.
Okay.
So you want Pattinson full blown everything, like the full DC. You wanted like him into, like, Superman flying in, Wonder Woman being around. You want the whole shebang for Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, because I mean,
a lot of people don't.
Well, because, like, you got the Justice Gang, and that's close enough. You got Guy Gardner, you got Hawkgirl. Why not get the rest of the team in?
Oh, that world, like the DCU, will 100% have a Batman. Will 100% have a Green Arrow. They'll have everything, 100%. But I think what the question is do you want that Batman to be Robert Pattinson or not?
I mean, so that is definitely a different question. That's a question I understand. Do I want Robert Pattinson part of it? Yeah, to be honest, I would love that, because I think that it would fit well, because he's, like, not necessarily, trying to associate, like, what's the word? Extrovertedly. As chums and pals. He's going to be reserved. He's going to be his own thing. And you never know, like, it might be that the first year things go down, and, like, we saw how everything kind of got screwed up with Gotham. He's a little more seasoned now, maybe get into the second, third year of him working with all of the things that he knows, meets up with this team, connects with Superman, becomes a little more lighthearted, but also understands that he needs to take the reins and, once in a while, and kind of, like, learn things, because he has a contingency plan for everything, including himself. So that's one of the things I really want to see. I believe Robert Pattinson can do it. I mean, I have no reason to doubt that. But, like, if you're asking me, like, who would I want to choose as a different Batman, that's a completely different story. If you're asking me, do I want these worlds to come together? That's a completely different story. But yeah, do I want Pattinson's Batman in there? Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be interesting.
I would be more so the other way. I think I would like a seasoned Batman to come in who is living in a world where Superman's been around a long time. You know, the Bat family's there. He's used to running into Green Lanterns and all this sort of shit, and he has those. Because again, like the Robert Pattinson version of Batman, what has he been Batman for? Is it year 2, year 3? I can't remember.
Might be
It's like
year 2.
he's very new. He's very, very green, as we would say here. He's green as grass. But like
It's the Long Halloween, right?
yeah,
Or
that's
after the events of the Long Halloween.
That's year 2, I believe, right? So like, you know, like we've seen him do a bit of the detective stuff, which I think was great. You know, it feels like we hadn't had that in a Batman in a long time. You know, like Christian Bale's version, he didn't really feel like a detective that much. You know, he had like strategic kind of abilities and stuff, but did he feel like a detective really? Like
yeah, no, like he was, to be fair, he was spoon fed all that shit. Like he had he had to converse with everybody.
Yeah, he's got Lucius and he's got fucking Gordon and everything. And you know what I mean? He kind of just showed up. He was the muscle in that movie, right? Like he kind of showed up with the toys when Gordon called, and it's like, hey, we've got this new Joker fella on, like, you know, hunt him down, kick his ass. Like, you know, whereas in the Robert Pattinson version, like he was a detective, like he was going and trying to help solve the riddles and do all the shit, and that was cool. That was great. So like I think that version of Batman is off to a great start. You know, and it's like something we didn't really see with Ben either. Like Ben obviously is coming out of retirement to be Batman again. We don't know what his old Batman was like, because again, he had been Batman for 20 years and like Robin had died already and all that sort of shit. So like, you know, he's kind of dark and disconnected and, you know, depressed and all this shit because he's lost one of his kids and all that, you know, like he's a very different version of Bruce. So like we didn't really get to see much of the detective side of him either. So like this version of Bruce is really cool in that aspect. But like, is he smart enough yet to know, like, okay, there's like a big alien, I need to find out like contingency plans of how to maybe kill this guy? And you know, I don't think he's there yet. He's just still quite new, but I think they're on the right track with that version of Batman because he is a detective, you know. So yeah, we need to see what the second Batman movie does. I think really the second Batman movie is probably the last thing that Reeves is probably going to do, because I think, you know, with the DCU, they're not going to want to really have two Batmans active at the same time. I don't think, you know, he says this in the interview, and that's kind of where Josh Horowitz was going with the question originally. It's like, do you want to have two Batmans in like on the roster at the same time, or do you want to, you know, bring in Pattinson and then there's only one Batman, and then, you know, the normal crowds and the normal fans won't get confused when it's like, hey, why is there two different guys playing Batman? You know, I only went to see a Batman movie and it's a different guy. You know, like you got to think about that as well. So, like, I think the way that Gunn is I think the way that he's going with it, he's going to want to let the Reeves verse play out over the next movie and maybe like another season of Penguin or something. And then I think he'll probably put that to bed. And then, you know, it's just the one Batman in the DCU going forward then from there. And then you have free reign to do the Watchtower in space and Bruce fucking going through boom tubes to get to space and all this mad shit. Like I want to see it all, man. Like I want to see it full blown, like go crazy. Like that's what I want. I want the multiverse, like with the Batman Who Laughs. I want them to get there with Batman fully, because like Bruce is like incredible in the comics. Like it gets to a stage where he like goes to like and sits on the Morbius chair in the comics, and he basically becomes a god. He's like the most intelligent person in the universe and all this crazy shit. We just don't get to see Batman enough that we get to see those stories develop. So that's what I hope happens with the DCU. I hope that they actually get an actor in. Doesn't have to be an old guy. It could be like, you know, someone in the 30s or 40s or whatever. Give someone a good like 10-15 year run as Batman and do everything. Like let us see it all. That's my hopes.
Show it to me.
Yeah, like do it all. Like give me multiple Robins. Give me like the death of fucking Jason Todd, and give me like Damian, and you know, like the whole, even just Damian is like is a fascinating character by himself. Like his grandfather is Ra's al Ghul. Like, you know, you're talking about all these like really cool shit that we could see in the comics, and you know, Court of Owls, like all this great stuff. A proper Joker, please, and you know, Batgirl and everything, like, you know, like it would just be so cool to see it all. And then like let him go into space, let him start messing around with Cyborg and all these Justice League shit, and he's in the Watchtower. Like it would be great. I'd love to see it all. It'd be so good. Anyway, I know we went off on a mad tangent there. So
no, I mean it fits well, because considering that we're about to get a brand new set of Fantastic Four characters.
Yeah.
With a different set of actors. Like it's absolutely a thing that we should talk about. Like, wondering what is next basically for DC, because we really didn't talk about that at all. Like what could possibly happen now that everything's kind of settled with Lex and Superman. Although we did see like he was very like, Lex was very upset with what happened and the outcome. I mean, what do you think is really going to push forward? Like, do you think that they're going to continue to use the Justice Gang? Is that a one and done? Is that like a,
well,
are we going to see other things?
The next thing that's in the timeline is Peacemaker season 2, which is a direct continuation of this movie. So, Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Max Lord and all these people who were in Superman are in Peacemaker season 2. James Gunn says it's a direct continuation of that movie. I don't know if he's just saying that so that more people watch it because it's like, oh, I want to see more Superman. But basically, yes, it is.
So, if he lied.
Yeah, imagine, yeah. Like, oh, there's just like a 2-minute cameo in episode 4 and that's it. But basically, yeah, so that's coming. So we know we have that. And then you've got the Supergirl movie, which I think is just wrapped filming maybe a month ago or something like that. And that movie is, from what James has said, is going to be like a kind of Guardians of the Galaxy style movie where it's out in space and it's, her kind of planet hopping and, it's not just focused on Earth. So I think that's going to be potentially even better than Superman, because it's going to be more in the wheelhouse of what James can do best, because that's kind of where he shines, right? Like crazy aliens and all these funny characters in space and all this sort of cool shit like the Guardians. So I think his next movie is going to be more so that. Travis, what's up? How are you? Welcome.
Going on.
So yeah, I think that's where it's going. And then obviously, Brave and the Bold, I don't even think they've started anything with that yet. The Lanterns TV show is going to be obviously DCU as well. Clayface has just begun production, I believe. So, it's getting wacky and wonderful already. We've got Lanterns, we've got shape-shifting monsters, we've got Superman, we've got Supergirl, and she's out in space, and Lobo is confirmed, Jason Momoa playing him. Like, so it's the pages of a comic book coming to life already. It's so, and I think he was saying in the Josh Horowitz podcast that he has another project for David Cornsweet, which he has not confirmed is Superman 2. So, maybe they do Trinity. I know they're trying to fast track Wonder Woman as fast as possible. So we'll probably hear of a casting for Wonder Woman soon. Whether they do like a Trinity thing with Batman, or whether they do, Wonder Woman and Superman, like a duo movie or something, I don't know. I don't think they jump straight into Justice League again. I think they'll realize the mistakes that DC had done before by fast tracking that, and they'll slow down. He says,
we've already got the Justice Gang though.
I don't see that as the Justice League. Like, I think Max Lord is like basically paying people to kind of just be the Justice League, but they're not really,
Right, yeah.
Until the League is properly formed by like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, like the Trinity, like the members 1, 2, 3, and so on. I wouldn't consider that the Justice League just yet. That's
fair enough.
That's just me. I know the mural in the Hall of Justice. I was actually surprised to see the Hall of Justice in the movie, because I was like, holy shit, that's kind of crazy that the Hall of Justice is there. So, like, obviously in this world, it's established that there was a Justice League, or that maybe they do like the JSA or something, which is like the old school guys like Jay Garrick and all that stuff. So like in the 50s, like, so maybe it'll be kind of like Watchmen, the way in Watchmen, like there's the old team from like the old days, like, the past, like in the 70s or whatever, and then they have the new team in the current times. So maybe the Justice Gang is like a replacement of the JSA. I think maybe that's what they're trying to do. And then they'll form the actual Justice League a little later on, when we get introduced to Hal Jordan and John Stewart and Green Arrow and all these people, like, the first 10 members, and they'll come together and, they'll do the big fucking round table scene and the lobby sitting there. It's going to be epic. Can't wait. It's cool shit.
And I kind of doubt it though, because like it's James Gunn, so I think it really is just going to be the Justice Gang. Maybe they'll change it like accordingly, but I think Guy Gardner is here to stay.
I would not see him going anywhere, but the Lantern show has both Hal and John Stewart in it, so by the end of that show, we'll have at least 3 lanterns, at least 3 human lanterns on
Right.
Earth. So like that's a pretty well established lantern corps, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously, you know, in the comics, you've got Hal for God knows how many years before John comes around, and then Guy comes around after that. So, you know, I think we're going to be fairly established as well. So yeah, I'm interested, man. You know, you know me, like I'm a big DC fan. I way prefer reading DC comics to Marvel comics myself. So I do want to see a well established cinematic universe for DC. I think it'd be fantastic. So
Absolutely. Like we're in desperate need for one.
yeah, and it's all just healthy competition. You know what I mean? Like it's DC doing well only lights the fire under Feige and Marvel and Disney and tells them, guys, you know, Superman's out now. You know, like here comes a Batman movie. They're going to start making loads of money. Like you need to kind of catch up. You need to do better. You know,
Right.
so like that's all great. You know, like competition is a good thing. It you know what's the saying? You know, high waters raise all boats or whatever. You know, like it's you know if comic book movies get better, it's only just going to get better for the entire genre. Like everything elevates. You know, so
Everyone's going to get a slice of that pie again.
exactly. You know, and Hollywood desperately need it. So I think you know they'll literally probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they start working together at this stage. That would not surprise me at all. I did see some post from some leaker where they put up a picture of the Avengers and the Justice League under it. And some people were kind of saying like, oh, I wonder, is there something maybe cooking up in the wheelhouse of Marvel, and maybe they will do like a Avengers versus Justice League down the line, maybe when the DC is well established. Like, I know that sounds crazy to say now, but like, you know, in 10 years time, I think that could easily be a possibility where they do some crazy, you know, generational movie event where it is DC versus Marvel. And like, could you imagine the two fan bases like going after each other? You know, oh, Darkseid beats Thanos, and you know, like just like, and then all like the kind of copycat shit, like you know, Deadpool's a copy of Deathstroke, and I just think the back and forth would just be incredible. And then if it's a great movie, maybe you know by the end of it, everyone's living in unison. It's all fucking fantastic, and we're all friends again. I think that would just be so good for the fan base too. You know, be great. If you have nothing else to bring up, I might leave it there for the week. We're about to hit 140, an hour and 40 minutes, and it's 12:30 my time. So I need to get out of here. But
No worries.
do you have anything else to bring up?
Not that I'm aware of. I should still be available next week.
Cool.
But I think the week after I'll be unavailable.
That's fine. I actually need to take some time off myself. I'm actually going to Portugal on the 11th of August, and I'll be gone for the rest of that week, I think. So I'll definitely be missing the 13th, the Wednesday the 13th. I won't be around that week. But I should be around the week after. So if you're not around next week, there might be like a little 2-week break then from the cast, which is fine. Like again, I don't think there's going to be much going on in August anyway, so it'll be a bit of a quieter time. I'll try and do a couple of uploads on the channel to keep it alive, but other than that, yeah, we'll take a bit of a break, which a much needed break, and we can jump back into it then mid-August. So yeah, look, next week we've got obviously the Fantastic Four episode. We'll do a full spoiler-filled breakdown of the movie, what we thought, everything like that, and any other nerdy news in between. And if you're still listening to this, massive thank you. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscription, leave a like on the video, leave us a comment below if you're watching this on a replay, and let us know what you think. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.
Take care.